Hello everyone, hopefully you are doing great. In this week, our discussion topics are agenda setting theory and spiral of silence theory. Personally, I love these two theory a lot. This agenda setting theory explains how audience think about any particular news content. Actually, this media coverage shape public's attention and public's mentality to think about any content. So it's actually explains the media's power and how actually it can shape the audience attention. So from my experience, I would like to share something with you, how this media coverage can impact the public attentions and also can bring several changes among political, cultural and social issues. In recent times, we have faced one flood affection in our country, in east-west part in Kumilla city and Feni city, and another flood affection we have faced in our Mymensingh and this Jamalpur part, which actually in every year we can see. So, first of all, I'd like to say that the media coverage was high level in Kumilla and Feni cities flood coverage, and that time we faced that how public attempts to give their several financial support, and they come to donate their several valuable instruments also for behalf of their family, their groups, to help the affected people a lot. And I personally observed the vast attendance of our citizens are helping the affected peoples a lot, and I think that was the best crisis moment in our country when we were together and we worked together for betterment of these affected peoples. And just in 1 month actually, by our this fund collections, we can reduce several problems, mitigate the problems from this Kumilla and Feni cities peoples. But on the other hand, we view the different situations in Mymensingh and Jamalpur cities flood affected situation, and in these situations we face that media coverage was so low, and most of the persons was unconcerned about this matter, and the same thing was also happened in these two cities, but the fund raising was not so high as Kumilla and Feni city, and the media cover is also so low. If you make difference between two covers, then I can realize that media cover is how much powerful and how it helps a lot in Kumilla and Feni cities for affected people, but not help in Mymensingh and Jamalpur cities flood affected people a lot. Actually, this media content, when explores vastly, then it can take public attention, can make awareness, and also can change the public policies also. So I think this media cover is still now so powerful in every situations. Not only these types of climate change, these types of crisis situations, but also in political eras, actually these media coverage can set agenda for us. For example, we can say that for last 15 years, as this Awami League ruled in our country, the Bangladesh was under this autocratic government. But in this situation, the media coverage was like is that there have no others eligible party, no other eligible person who can lead the country's prime minister rule as Sheikh Hasina. And Sheikh Hasina is one of the one lady actually who can rule the Bangladesh properly. No other eligible persons come here and to fight against Sheikh Hasina. These types of narratives, actually we observed the media coverage how actually they established this for these 15 years. But when this students movement occurred and this ruling government of Sheikh Hasina was destroyed, now media cover is totally changed, and actually they decentralized their ruling situations, and they explored several other parties contributions also. So in this way you can think that how politically also the media coverage can influence public's narratives and can make powerful narratives for audience, how they will think about and what will be their key meaningful tools, such as personally I also started to believe that Sheikh Hasina is one army, one lady who can lead the in Bangladesh's ruling positions. So I think not only in every person's slightly belief that nobody can be take her place. Nobody, there have no replacement of Sheikh Hasina. So I think this media coverage is so powerful, and it can make attention, and it also can establish several agenda for public, how they will think about. Now I'm telling about how social media platforms with their algorithms and user generated content affect the agenda setting process of traditional media. For example, I can say if any news organizations wants to establish any news which is so public concern and important issues for audience, but at the same time the ruling positions persons or any influencers make any funny video based on these topics to hide these issues purposively. I noticed that social media platforms actually used vastly to get public attentions for these funny things, not for these important issues. For example, I can say that this price hike in our country, our people's actually struggling to make balance between their income and the rate of their groceries items. So when in investigative news about any corruption of syndicates make our government, our news outlets to set agenda among audience, in the meantime actually to hide the corruptions, the investigations of news outlets, the social media platforms that these particular persons use for their self-interest, and they spread several funny things which is related with these topics, and surprisingly people are actually enjoying these types of prime minister's speech, several ministers speech about these types of content, but they are not aware about the main thing, the main problem in crisis. So I think in this case these social media platforms, this algorithm actually vastly affected our public attention for these funny entertainment things, not these types of important issues. And nowadays this AI generated content, several deepfakes actually spread vastly also. So in any crisis moment, I think the social media platforms, as it's can we can publish anything, post anything in real time. So it makes several misinformation by spreading deepfakes for us. And I also observed several AI generated pictures spread in social media platforms for make panicked among flood affected people. And it was quite tough for traditional media to find out the real thing in the meantime. And in this actually time gap process, these types of deepfakes spread vastly among all the audience, and they think oh it's real, and they become panicked about it. So I think nowadays if we make comparison between social media platforms and the traditional media, I think these social media platforms are more powerful in spreading news, in making public attention, even though it's misinformation or it's there have no limited gatekeeping process. So I think it's harmful, and sometimes it affect our interest also. A public interest also can affected by these types of misusing of social media algorithms and AI-generated deepfakes pictures. Now I am telling about the spiral of silence theory. This means how one person's feel restrictions to explore his or her beliefs against majority's perceptions. For example, as I am thinking about certain viewpoints, but in the meantime, the presented others persons, the majority persons thinks the others viewpoint. This times I don't feel any willingness to explore my beliefs. That is actually the spiral of silence. I personally faced these problems in several times. Particularly in gender diverse people's right in our country, as it's so much restricted issues and it's a social taboo, and our country is actually not recognized the gender diverse people's right. The LGBTQ are not recognized. So in this viewpoint, when I would like to say something, that these times I feel this spiral of silence, and it actually disencouraged me to not say anything against the social structures. The particular events occurs in our country when transgenders' rights mentioned in school secondaries book, and that times actually the guardians of these students, they make protest in social media platforms against this concept. Why the government put this topic in schools textbook, but that was not so much heavy context, and it just explores the mental status of any persons, not mention any transgender identity, not mentions any heavy things by which one's children can be influenced, but just a little bit hints that how mentally one person can think, he boys or girls, it not determined by body organs, it can determined by psychologically. That just by this concept actually public feels arrogant against this concept and made several comments in social media platforms, and they actually made a social protest. But as I also from Islam religion, and I also in a social structures, but as I strongly believe that LGBTQ is right, but I couldn't make any post, make comment who can go against the vast audience peoples. So I personally observed these obstacles of mine also, and I also faced this spiral of silence moment in my personal life, and I think it's a worse situation who's actually can decrease our identity, decrease our rights to freedom of expression, freedom of speech. So these types of situations have to mitigate to talk about every controversial issues of our society. Now I am telling about how social media platforms and the idea of curated content through algorithms play into public opinions and spiral of silence. Basically, when one particular controversial issues occurred, if any famous person or any social influencer go against or support these issues, it make a great influence among audience. Such as in 2018, our country enacted a rule which called Digital Security Act. Somehow these rules go against our journalistic ethics. It's prohibited journalists from making any investigative report and make some controls over journalists to go through to find out any important documents or other things. Not only that, it also go against our rights of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and tell something which can be go against our governmental issues or something else, and we can't post anything in social media platforms which actually go against their particular interest. So about these issues, somehow we can make our comment, we can make protest in social media platforms as it actually go against our rights. But unfortunately, in the meantime, some famous persons or ministers actually make space who for supported this Digital Security Act, and we make fair, and we can't think that the social media platforms is secure place to explore our opinion, as any person somehow explore their opinion, they somehow arrested or somehow isolated and make several harassment actually. So I think when these powerful persons or influencer or any opinion leader space go against public opinion or minority groups, actually they feel nervous to say about something about this topic. Not only this Digital Security Act, in gender diverse peoples, vulnerable groups, indigenous peoples' right, in every sectors actually these minority peoples feel this fear for their life security, for their freedom of expression and freedom of rights. I think this spiral of silence theory is so much strict in every situations. So we should ensure for audience the secure place where they can spread their viewpoint. Otherwise, the spiral of silence, these affections we can't remove. Thanks everybody.